Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about dissolving. What is dissolving? Dissolving is when you take something and mix it into a solvent, which is a liquid, and it breaks down into smaller parts. So, for example, if you took salt and I pour it in this cup of water, and then I stir it, what happens to the salt? Does it stay as a solid? Look at that. Oh, it doesn't feel gritty anymore when I stir. And then it becomes clear. But can you dissolve anything? Does everything dissolve? No, sometimes you need special solvents. Water can dissolve a lot of things, but not everything. For example, if I put oil in here, does it look like it's dissolved? Can you see those beads? We'll do a close-up in a little bit. What if I stir it? Will that help? Nope, there's still a bunch of little beads of oil in there. So oil won't dissolve in water. So our experiment today is going to be dissolving things. We're going to use water as one of our solvents and acetone as the other. Acetone will dissolve different things than water will. And then we're going to take two solutions. So solutions is what this salt is now. A solution has the solvent and something dissolved in it, and we're going to mix them together and we're going to make a brand new solid. Okay, are you ready to get started?
For our first experiment, you're going to need Epsom salt, washing soda, 2 glasses of water, and a bowl. Measure out equal amounts of both the washing powder and the Epsom salt. Now we're going to go ahead and mix those into the water. I have some spoons to help me stir. Now watch, it starts all cloudy, but as you stir, it's going to start to get clearer and clearer. The washing soda takes a little bit longer, so I'll stir it a bit, and then once I've given it a nice good stir, I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit and it should start clearing up. Now we'll do the Epsom salts. They dissolve much more easily, so it's not gonna take nearly as long to get them to dissolve. That we've mixed our powders into the water, they're both what's called in solution. So after something's been dissolved, it's referred to as being in solution. So now we're going to get ready to dump this right into our bowl. But first let's check what the pH of these are. Now remember we have a salt, and they usually break up into a positive and a negative, so it should be close to neutral. This is a soda. If you remember, baking soda was pretty basic, so we'll see if this is more or less basic than baking soda. It'll be interesting to find out. Okay? So remember, the more purple it is, the more basic, and the more close to red it is, it's going to be more acidic. Let's test. Hold it up. That's pretty close. It's probably between 7 and 8, so pretty neutral. Now we're going to test our soda. Okay, look how purple it is. Let me show you. It's pretty much as dark purple as it can get. So that is a very strong base. So let's see what happens when we mix them together. Okay, so we're going to pour in our Epsom salt solution first. And then, to give you a good look, we're going to slow it down so you can see this. I'm pouring in the washing soda solution, and you'll see it starts to cloud as soon as it hits the water there. You start to see those clouds forming. Those are the new precipitate. Those are solids forming. We'll get a better look at it right at the end. So you can see right around those edges there that all these little solids have formed throughout this whole thing, and it looks sort of gelatinous, and it is sort of gelatinous, and that's because it's got a bunch of solids in there now that won't dissolve. So we're going to test now and see what the pH of this is. So let's take our strip, dip it right in. It's still really, really, really basic. So when I did this test, I didn't know what it was going to turn out as, and I thought to myself, I wonder what happens if I add acid to this. So I got some acetic acid, also known as vinegar, and I started pouring it in, and watch what happens. And I'm going to give it a little stir. Everything's gone back into solution as soon as I lowered the pH of the solvent. So now everything is back in solution. That was really cool, I thought. Our next experiment, we're going to use nail polish remover or acetone, and I'm going to add a little bit of oil to it, and then I'm going to give it a nice stir with a fork, and it should dissolve. If you remember, it didn't dissolve in water, and that's because oil is non-polar. That means it doesn't have any positive ends or negative ends. So water can't dissolve it, but acetone can. So if you look carefully, you'll see that while there's a sheen to the acetone now, it's pretty much dissolved in there. Now you're going to want to use a glass container for this because acetone can melt some plastics. So now I thought, well, what happens if I add water back into this? Because acetone dissolves in water. So I got a cup of water, and we're going to add it to this. But first, let's check the pH real quick. Let's look at it. Pretty neutral again in there. Okay, now let's add some water. Now this is dissolving the acetone, which means the acetone can no longer dissolve the oil. So look what's happening. Do you see that? Do you see the oil coming back together out of the acetone? We'll add a little more. Do you see it beading back together? This is happening because the acetone can no longer hold the oil in solution. So the oil is coming out of solution and forming back into its oil droplets. Let's do it one more time. And look at that. Do you see how it all comes together? Super interesting and super beautiful too.
So what did we learn today? Well, we learned that we could dissolve pretty much anything as long as we have the right solvent. We also learned that we could make new solids out of two liquids. We also learned that we could make things come back out of solution by adding things to the solvent. I hope you had a great time. I had a lot of fun doing chemistry with you today. I hope to see you all next time. Come back and learn again. Okay, bye.